heart of Mainz City in Germany lies a centuries-old fortress known as Mainz Citadel. Over the years, it has stood witness to countless tales of war, tragedy, and despair. But none so chilling as the legend of Anya, the ghost of an old woman who haunts the dark corners of the Citadel. Long ago, during the tumultuous 30 Years' War, the Citadel was a formidable stronghold. Anya was said to be an herbalist who lived in a small cottage on the outskirts of the fortress. People sought her remedies for ailments and her guidance in times of need. However, when the war brought destruction and chaos, the Citadel's soldiers began suspecting Anya of being a witch, blamed for the misfortunes that befell the soldiers. One fateful night, a mob stormed her cottage, accusing her of dark sorcery. They dragged her to the Citadel's heart, where a trial was hastily arranged. The commander, a stern and ruthless man, was convinced of her guilt and ordered her execution. Anya, with tears in her eyes and a plea for mercy on her lips, was thrown into a deep well within the Citadel walls, and a heavy stone lid was closed above her. Her death was swift, but the curse she left behind was anything but. As the lid sealed Anya's fate, she uttered a haunting cry of vengeance that echoed through the walls of the Citadel. The ground trembled, and a sinister wind blew, chilling the bones of those who stood witness to the horrifying act. From that day forward, the Citadel became plagued with strange occurrences. Soldiers would hear eerie whispers in the still of the night, calling their names from the shadows. Some swore they saw an old woman's ghostly figure wandering the hallways, her eyes glowing with a malevolent light. As the years passed, the Citadel's dark reputation grew, and fear spread like wildfire. People claimed that Anya's spirit tormented anyone who dared to enter her domain. Soldiers vanished without a trace, and even the bravest of men hesitated to set foot within the Citadel's boundaries. One particular incident that sent shivers down the spine of every Citadel resident was the night of howling winds. On this night, a storm raged with such fury that it seemed as if the heavens themselves were unleashing their wrath upon the cursed fortress. The wind whistled and howled, mimicking the voice of a mournful old woman crying out for justice. Legend has it that those who dared venture near the well could still hear Anya's wailing, her voice carried on the storm's malevolent currents. Even the commander, who had ordered her demise, was not spared. He claimed to have glimpsed her ghastly visage in his dreams, her face twisted with anger and sorrow, haunting him until his last breath. Despite the tales, there were some who dismissed the ghostly stories as mere folklore. They laughed off the idea of a vengeful spirit roaming the Citadel's halls. But then, one fateful night, a group of adventurous teenagers decided to test their courage and debunk the legend once and for all. Ignorant of the dangers that lay ahead, they sneaked into the Citadel under the cover of darkness, their hearts pounding with both excitement and fear. Armed with flashlights and bravado, they ventured deeper into the bowels of the fortress. The Citadel seemed to come alive around them, creaking and groaning as if in protest to their intrusion. As they approached the well, a bone-chilling wind swept through the corridors, extinguishing their flashlights one by one. Panic consumed them, and their laughter turned to desperate cries for help. But there was no escape from the darkness that enveloped them. Suddenly, a haunting voice pierced through the silence. "Who dares to disturb my eternal slumber?" it whispered, each word dripping with malice. The teenagers froze, their hearts pounding in terror. A dim, ghostly figure emerged from the shadows, revealing the sorrowful face of an old woman. Anya's eyes glowed like fiery embers, and her spectral form seemed to float above the ground. The teenagers gasped, paralyzed with fear. "You shall pay for your trespassing with your souls," she hissed, her voice echoing through the catacombs. The walls seemed to close in around them, and the air grew thick with despair. In a desperate attempt to escape, they turned to run, but their legs betrayed them. Their bodies were frozen in place, and they could only watch helplessly as Anya's ghostly form drew closer. She reached out her skeletal hand, and a piercing cold spread through their bodies like ice. In their final moments, they saw visions of the past, the horrors Anya had endured, the the pain and suffering she had endured at the hands of the Citadel's inhabitants. And with that, their lives were extinguished, their souls consumed by the vengeful spirit of Anya. Since that gruesome night, no one dared to venture into the Mainz Citadel again. Anya's tale spread far and wide, sending shivers down the spines of those who heard it. The Citadel remained an empty shell, haunted by the tormented soul of an old woman seeking revenge for the injustice done to her. So, beware of the Mainz Citadel and the vengeful spirit of Anya. For even today, on stormy nights, you might hear her mournful cries carried on the winds, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks within the old fortress's walls. And should you ever find yourself near the well, pray that you are not met with her wrath, lest you become another victim of her eternal curse.